Hello Autobots and Decepticons, my name is Soulmongry, and today I'm going to be breaking down the Transformers Fall of Cybertron demo with changes that myself and the community would also like to see. So last video I asked you guys all to leave your comments about balance issues, your thoughts, changes you'd like to see in the Fall of Cybertron demo or the Fall of Cybertron release when it comes out, and I got a ton of comments, so I read through them all like I promised. I felt like I was reading a novel, and there was tons. I can't remember exactly the number, but I know I read more than like 800 comments, and maybe close to 1,000 now as I'm making this video, because they were coming in pretty hot still. And a lot of the comments were similar, like a lot of them had specific points that were made, and a lot of people wanted the same stuff changed, and then there were some different things that only a couple people mentioned. So I'm going to go ahead and push those aside because I understand this is just a demo, and I also understand that if you change so much, you're going to run into just more issues right away, and going for perfection is a bit crazy. In the words of Kevin Flynn, perfection, it's unknowable. Now, if you agree with me in this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you disagree with me in this video, please give it a thumbs down. Let's use the like and the dislike bar as kind of a rating system on what I'm gonna say along with what you guys said. And then if you even agree with me strong enough, feel free to give this a tweet to High Mood Studios and let them hear this. So let's just jump into this with some basic things that everybody said, and I got a bunch of thumbs up. Is the first one was they wanted to know, like in War for Cybertron, in the menu screen, the player population. So we'd like to see how many people are online and how many people are in each different game mode going down the list, so that we know when we're entering in if there's anyone playing that. So I think that's something reasonable to ask for, and that was in War for Cybertron, so I feel like that could be easily brought back. And a couple other things that I'd like to see changed, and these weren't mentioned in the comments at all, but I thought I should mention them here because they're just minor little things that I thought would help improve the game a little bit. In between games, when you're sitting there waiting for the lobby when you're customizing, the beeping is going the entire time. I don't think that beeping is necessary. It turns out to be rather annoying, and I think it'd be cool if the beeping came in like with 10 seconds left on the countdown, so it was kind of like a warning and you knew you had to finish up customizing your classes. So I think that's a small change that could be made that would definitely help out when you're customizing your character, not to have to look up at the timer constantly or having that annoying noise the whole time, because it's a pretty long wait in between games. Next is in the display HUD, there is a setting for ally versus enemy or Autobot versus Decepticon. Now, I've been using the Autobot versus Decepticon, and I understand if a lot of you guys don't even know that's there, but I've been trying that out, and I like how it looks for each of the characters. I can really tell what people are doing to their customizing characters in that, but I do have one gripe with it. It's that the red for the Autobots is very close to the purple for the Decepticons, so if they can somehow make those colors a little bit different to differentiate the two Autobots and the Decepticons when I'm battling, I would get less confused, so that would be awesome if they could do something for that. So the next thing that a lot of people wanted had to do with customization, and they want to be able to pick their specific color. They didn't want to have to choose from a set 2 colors, and I'm going to go ahead and be devil's advocate a little bit on this one too, but I think that's cool. I think that's a cool idea, and I think if we can get that to some degree controllable, I think it would work. But my worry is that everybody's going to have crazy colors, and it's just going to look like a mesh of colors out there, and you're not going to be able to tell who's on what side. So one person actually suggested, I can't remember who it is, I read through a million comments, but one person actually suggested maybe that you could just be more specific on picking your secondary color, and I thought that could be a good idea. But if you could somehow get the primaries to be like a big like layout, like grid, kind of like in Photoshop, where you can kind of pick your color more specifically, I think you could even get a more customized transformer in there. And that was kind of the thing that kept coming up on the customization. Other than that, I didn't see too much reoccurrence on customization. Alright, jumping into the game mechanics and the health system. Now, these were the most talked about in the comments section below. Number one was the vehicle abilities. Now, right now, we have no vehicle abilities. In War, we had a barrel roll for the scientist, a roll for the scout, a 180 turnaround for the soldier, and a boost for the leader. And I agree with everybody. I think the vehicle abilities should come back. They add to the game. but I understand from High Moon's tweet, they said they took him out because of balance issues, and I think you can easily get rid of those balance issues if you reduce the cooldown, or if you increase the cooldown, so make it longer for these abilities to come back, so you can't just sit there and barrel roll over and over and over again. And I understand they took them out, probably my guess would be for the lock-on weapons. They want them to be more effective, and you should be able to get shot down if like 3 people are locking onto you, but I feel like you should also be given the opportunity to dodge one missile that's coming at you from a lock-on weapon, because it is a lock-on weapon and it doesn't take much aim to use lock-on weapons. So that was the biggest thing. People want their abilities back. Alright, next up is a pretty hot topic right now, and that is the double jump, or the no double jump right now. And actually, I was just playing the demo August 1st, and I thought that they made some adjustments that made it easier to get up on these boxes and not get stuck on them. I don't know if they increased the jump height or just made the boxes smaller. I couldn't really tell just offhand, but I noticed that I wasn't getting stuck on these anymore, and I really like these changes. And I think right now, even though a lot of people do seem to want the double jump, but then there's a lot of people that don't want the double jump back, but I think right now with this minor change they made, it seemed to improve it quite a bit. And I say we just give this a chance with no double jump, because I hate to see those annoying leaders or destroyers now come into the game and just be bunny hopping and shooting down their splash damage weapons like crazy. I think right now it's pretty good. The roll on the ground requires more accuracy with your actual physical gun than it does just jumping up and down, shooting down a splash damage weapon. And with the boxes or the jump height increased, I think we're going to be able to get to areas a little bit easier. And if you can jump a little bit higher with the smaller classes, which you can seem to get up into places a little bit easier with the Scout, I've noticed, on a Titan, I mean, that would probably be more or less your choice on picking that character. You should have stronger damage, but then you're a little bit more mobile with the smaller classes. So right now, I had a voting. I'll leave a link in the description for the double jump thing, but I think High Moon did a good job of patching that up on the first. Alright, the next most talked about thing, and maybe this was just as talked about as the vehicle abilities, was the shield and health system. Now, I go into a battle with the Titan and I instantly die, and I'm kind of like, huh, I'm this big, huge robot. I'm expecting this huge, epic battle. I'm not expecting me to get shot by an AK-47 like Call of Duty style and instantly die because I'm a human and I have skin. I am a metal robot and I expect to have an epic metal battle. So with that said, the shield, and Turtle of Doom said this pretty well, so I'm going to quote him on this. The shield feels like you're a stormtrooper. The stormtroopers in the Star Wars movies would get shot once and they are dead. That's how the shield feels. It doesn't feel like an actual shield. I would like this shield increased. Now, I'm not sure how much exactly, but enough so that it feels like a shield and so that it doesn't slow down the game. Because I want to be able to help my teammates out even if I have like 2% health, but I manage to regain my shield for a little bit of time. Because of how the health system works, I'm okay with that dropping quickly and going to get the cubes. I feel like it should be more directed at a Halo health system with that shield, where you can still battle with that shield on against somebody with their shield, and the better man is going to take out their shields a little bit quicker with skill with the gunfight and then finish them off, even if the better man has that 2%. I feel like the shield isn't there doing anything. It needs to be an actual shield. And even though the shield may have been designed to take a lot of damage, we added another person in the game type. Actually, 2 more people if you count for both teams. So it's 6 on 6. So you got tons of people shooting at you. And I expect this to be a giant metal robot deathmatch, like I was saying. And I'm expecting to have these like epic one-on-one battles, these epic 2-on-1 battles where they have to take out my shield and then kill me after that. You know, I expect for my shield to actually protect me like a shield. So I would like to see that increased for every class and make it a true shield. For like, if I'm running around the map and I can't find a cube, they're all taken up, I can still be active in the battle and not have to worry about circling the map 300 times for waiting for a cube to come back. So not only do I want to see that increase in shield, but the community also wants to see this increase in shield. And I think we all have the same idea on this. We want to see the giant epic robot battle. We don't want to just instantly die. Alright, and then the health. I will talk about the health actually for each class when I get to the classes section in the video. Alright, next thing that was brought up a little bit. There is like a slight delay when using your weapons and abilities when you like get out of sprint and when you get out of vehicle mode. And I'd like for that to kind of go away if possible. I don't know if that's possible or not, but I'll be pressing them a bunch of times before I actually get them to initiate. So along with that and maybe the melee hit detection, I feel like those could be possibly improved a little bit. And a lot of people are commenting on the melee system with the Titan. They're not liking the stomp on the Titan, but I mean, if the melee system's already introduced on how it is, there may be no going back on that. And also a lot of people thought it might be a good idea to be able to customize your own weapon to hold, like an axe, a sword, a club, etc. Alright, and then there was one other comment. It's kind of like a small comment, but I've actually gotten it a couple times, and I was actually surprised that I got it a couple times, so I thought it was worth mentioning. And no one really even talked about this before, but they would love to have like an offline ability. I don't know if it's too late to put that on there, but more or less like a LAN or just an offline mode so that some people could hold tournaments. And I thought that was kind of cool for them to mention that, and that the Transformers franchise has a possibility to maybe someday be on the MLG circuit. Alright, now on to classes and their weapons, and this is actually an edit in here because I had this huge thing about each class and their weapons going on, and then I played the game again on the 1st, which is yesterday, and it changed my perspective. So I'm just going to briefly touch on this because I don't think that I can get a good feel for the weapons and their abilities for balancing yet without seeing everything into play. Plus you have attachments on every weapon and every ability, so it's very hard to judge this right now. But we are going to start out with what the community is basically saying at the moment, and that is starting with the popular Infiltrator class. Now the Infiltrator, he is small and he gets away very quick. But the problem with him right now is he can take out a lot of people at a time, and I don't know if it's because his damage on his weapon is pretty good. Now I noticed they toned down the Scatter Blaster a little bit, but that Path Blaster is pretty darn good still, almost too good, and I don't know if it's a good idea to lower his damage. I think that would be the best, or to reduce the clip size, because he can just rattle off so many shots with both his guns, and he's so hard to hit right now. It makes him just a huge force at the moment. So that is the Infiltrator thoughts with the community and my own at this current time. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Destroyer a little bit here. The Destroyer, he has all splash damage weapons, and the big thing with the community is they want a actual gun. Now, not a long-range gun, because we're going to see the Destroyers put up their barrier and have like a battle that's not going to get anywhere with these long-range guns from across a map. We want like an SMG, something that Optimus Prime would use, a short-range gun, something that you can actually use and not have to worry about an enormous reload time, because you use these two splash damage weapons with hardly any cannons in the chamber, and then you have to reload constantly. So I'd like to see a smaller SMG, and so would the community on the Destroyer. I think maybe the subsonic repeater would be a better choice for the Destroyer class. And if we're mixing around weapons like this, I'm going to go ahead and move on right away to the Titan. Now the Titan is pretty good, except for you guys increased the X18 Scrapmaker damage, and actually I think that should go back down. And I think what the community really wanted was his speed to be a little bit better when he was doing barrel rolls while using that, because he is extremely slow even walking around with that thing. So I think the mobility was more or less the issue on the Scrapmaker. And then my kind of beef, nobody really mentioned this, but I always wondered this. I don't understand why the Titan doesn't have the riot cannon, because he has the tank cannon, and when he transforms he should have Megatron's weapon, because he is well known as Megatron. So why doesn't he have the riot cannon? So I feel like he could use one splash damage weapon, and I feel like the riot cannon would be good for the Titan since it is Megatron's gun. Whereas I just talked about the Destroyer having an SMG, I think about Optimus Prime a lot, and he does not have an Optimus Prime gun. So I think if you kind of mix those around, and I guess if you were going to do like a triple swap, I just thought about this briefly. I don't know if this would work for balance, but if you would flip the riot cannon to the Titan and give the destroyer the subsonic repeater. You could give the infiltrator the EDK tech volt, but I don't know if that would work totally. But I do know that the community desperately wants an SMG, a short range weapon for the destroyer, something that it doesn't have to reload every 2 seconds and that takes forever to reload. And I do know that the destroyer's scrap maker should be toned down a little bit, and by toned down, I mean in damage, but maybe a boost in mobility. And then also the Energon Harvester, it's a great gun, and I haven't heard a lot of complaints, but the people that complained about it have complained about it a lot to me, and they feel that it maybe gives back a little bit too much health or does a little bit too much damage at the current time. Now, I'm judging this on just what I have available on the demo. On August 1st is the last time I played it, so please take that into consideration. Alright, next up, the Scientist. The Scientist desperately needs a little bit more health. He is the one that I think has the hardest time staying alive, even getting away. Now, this might change if you guys put the vehicle abilities back with the barrel roll, or if you increase the shield a little bit. But right now, as it is, he needs a little bit more health. Something to stay in there to allow him to balance a little bit. Or, excuse me, allow him to fight a little bit. And he has the worst guns in the game by far right now, so I don't know if you want to upgrade a gun on him or not, just because I feel like his abilities are going to be really good because he is a Scientist. So I think the classes are getting more and more balanced each time I play this. High Moon's doing a great job of looking at their own statistics and balancing the classes out. I still would like to see the Scientist with a little bit more health, and possibly even the Titan just a tad if they lower his guns down. But also, I feel like the shield does need to be increased, like I said before, and that could change a bunch of things with the health and the weapons then when you put that into play. But I do think it is very necessary for that shield to be increased. Alright, so that is kind of my thoughts and the community's thoughts that I've heard from in a nutshell on the demo. I understand that too much change will lead to more unbalancing, and I understand that some things may just not be able to happen. And a couple other things that I just kind of wanted to mention was that I've seen people on the PS3 ask for like a mute thing, or a mute player. I don't know if that's possible or if that's like a system thing, but I've seen that on the PS3. And which also brings me into the controller layout. I would like to see the option on one of the controller layouts to be able to switch your R1 and R2 buttons around and your L1 and L2 buttons around, because when you go from system to system, now this probably only applies to me because I play on both PS3 and Xbox 360, but when you go on system to system, it was flipped around for War for Cybertron, and there was no other way to fix that. And I'd like to see that an option so that I can easily transition over to one system to another. So I guess that will kind of wrap up the changes and like the feedback, the mechanics, and everything like that. And I guess take it with a grain of salt because it is the demo we are playing here, and who knows what will be changed. I know High Moon Studios will do a good job in making the game properly balanced for everyone. And overall, I think the demo is just amazing. It's been a blast. I'm having a good time. It's actually fun to sit down and try to figure out what would actually balance stuff out. I give you guys a lot of credit at High Moon Studios because this is not an easy job. And also, I'm going to throw in something here just because I want to, and I guess it's my commentary, so I can. I heard there was 5 game modes, and I'm really, really asking and begging you guys to put in Power Struggle and Countdown to Extinction. Those are my 2 favorite. Power Struggle was by far my #1 favorite. Look on the War for Cybertron Xbox 360 leaderboards. I am number 6, I believe, overall. I played the heck out of Power Struggle. I would love to see Power Struggle and Countdown Extinction return. So that's my little preach at the end and my plead for those 2 game types. So I am looking forward to the real game coming out. I can't wait to see how you guys go about balancing everything. And I'd like to thank you guys so much. You guys do just an awesome job. And I'm thanking you not only from me, but from all the Transformers fans out there. We definitely really appreciate all the work you have done.